What's going on, ADOM Nation? Happy Tuesday. And yes, it is time for another featured company showcase. I love these, right? And what's really cool is that we have Abella back with us. And I was just actually sharing with Kimberly, who we're really excited to have her today. Just the nature of a lot of these companies, coming on and sharing with all of you products and services that are directly relevant to what you guys do on a daily basis. So we know AR is there as we're closing out the end of the year. I know many of you are doing what you can to kind of get everything in that you can to at least salvage 2020, right, Kimberly? It's like 2020 has been a very interesting year for everybody, but a lot of practices are trying to salvage things. So Kimberly Mulkey, who's a sales manager with Abella, and I'm excited for her to spend some time with you guys today. As her and I were just speaking, this is kind of her baby. Like, she's been there for a while, and she's done a lot and knows a lot about Abella. So Kimberly, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. All right. So before we get started, wanted to have you share with with everybody out there a little bit about yourself and kind of what your journey has been in order to get to where you are now.
Sure. So I have a biology background. Actually, the tech industry is a little bit, newer on the market for me. I have a medical background. I was in medical sales for several years and took some time off to spend time with my daughter. And when I went back to work, here I am in the dental space, and I love it. I love the community. It's a really great atmosphere, and people are easy to work with, and I really have enjoyed it so far. I've been with CFI, which is our corporate company, for just about 2 years now.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So I'd love to get right into this. And you get to work with practices hands-on, right? And, regarding the integration of Abella. And I talk about this all the time, which is there's the element of a dental practice knowing there's newer technologies out there, knowing there's a way to be able to build something new into their practice that could benefit them, save them time, the whole 9 yards. But it's always that first step, right? That integration step. So I thought that's where we'd start and have you share with everybody, a little bit about what that process is like in regards to integrating, a system and a product like Abella.
Sure. So Abella integrates with about 98% of dental softwares out there. It's super easy to have this integration feed into that platform. Typically what we do is, a lot, depending on if the practice has access to the server or not, we might be working directly with an IT company, but regardless, the installation process is the same. It takes about 10 minutes. And then once we've synced up with your dental software, the team is ready to go in Abella the following day. So the timeline is a quick turnaround. The average is probably just a couple days, and then you guys are ready to rock and roll from there.
Perfect. All right. So with so many of these technologies, as you know, Kimberly, it's all about saving time. And then could you share a little bit about how you can actually account, or really the office managers, in once they get it integrated into their practice, like how much time are they saving? And I think more importantly, how are you guys, how are you measuring that?
Sure. So, we've had a lot of office managers tell us, I'm spending only an hour, maybe a week on AR, where they were spending, 5 to 6 hours potentially, or a full day just working their AR. Once we've integrated with your platform, what's great about our workflow is the practice can essentially control who goes into the system, but Abella will communicate to the patient directly via text and email. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to do anything. They just click through the process on their device, and they can set up their payment or to pay their bill. And what's great about that as well is the practice doesn't have to worry about who's paid and who hasn't paid. Abella keeps track of all of that, and we follow up with the patient consistently to get them to go ahead and take that step and to take that action to get you paid. And we will consistently work that balance for a full 90 days. But typically what we see on our end is the people who are using Abella to pay, over 50% of people will do that before a statement could even reach their mailbox. So that just goes to show you that patients and people need this method to have it fit into their lifestyle these days.
Yeah. And as you know, I think there's another element to this. People's finances are very personal to them, right? And especially when we're talking about accounts receivable, it's typically, bills or whatever, or treatment that they owe the practice. And you've got in many ways the traditional form of, the patient at the desk or other patients there, and you've got someone there maybe sharing with them kind of what their balances are. And some patients are okay with that, and some would prefer obviously that not that to be talked about. And so I think that's what's so great about some of these new forms of communication of electronically being able to communicate with the patient and stay on top of that. What's some of the feedback that you guys get from a lot of these patients for the practices that use Abella as far as how the patients are receiving this type of communication?
Yeah, I think that you're spot on with that. I think the conversation about money is always difficult for some people, and they just don't want to discuss it. And Abella has really allowed them to review essentially their account and their balance in their own privacy when it's convenient for them. And they will only, reach out to the practice if they have specific questions. So I think that's extremely relevant in today's world, with COVID happening and maybe some things that could have happened along the way, just making it more of a comfortable environment. And Abella allows the practice to become the good guy. They don't have to discuss that anymore. They're making it and implementing an option like this to just make it easier for them to pay. A lot of patients have told us when we did our market research, I thought I had a balance. I never received my statement in the mail, or, my dad threw it out or whatever. And this just allowed them to be able to get that message, get reminded about their balance, and very easily pay. So they were telling us that Abella just made it easy for them to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So multi-location practices, and we know it's popular. And it could be as simple as a practice owner, not wanting to have 10 or 15 practices, maybe only 3 or 4. But for those that have the multi-locations, I think what's interesting about a lot of technologies today, as you know, is maybe 6, 7 years ago, a lot of companies are building platforms. It's not that they didn't see the wave of the multi-location, but now you guys, I'm sure, are building things in from the onset as a way to be able to support that. So I'd love to have you share kind of how Abella integrates with multi-location practices.
Yeah, absolutely. We basically give different access points to the appropriate people within the corporate structure. So, it just is just a platform to scale. It's easy to manage. And the enterprise level can oversee activity and make sure the offices are using it, and getting people into the system. And then the efforts from an individual practice, their efforts are now shifted to just kind of managing and overseeing Abella and not having to take the action, not having to do the phone calls, not having to generate statements. Abella will do all of that. So within the enterprise structure, it just, to me, makes the most sense because everything is in one spot. The people that owe you money are in our platform, and we are working those balances for you.
All right. So a lot of times the things that we love that we buy, or the things that we use, or products and services, technologies, things like that, we say a lot of times it's a no-brainer, right? Like we learn about it. And you and I are talking about this before we came on live, that there are just so many aspects of Abella that are no-brainer. It is what it is. People know what it does, and it helps people with that. But are there any key characteristics that a practice would look at of kind of where they are that literally would, once learning more about Abella, it would be a no-brainer?
Sure. I think that the biggest thing is we know that offices that are sending around 100 statements a month or more. We definitely even have some single practices that are sending well over 500 statements a month. But in that ballpark of about 100 is where our ideal customer is, where the price point makes sense, the workflow makes sense, for them to very easily scale what they should be doing and take it off of that individual in the office. I think that's probably the biggest thing there.
Yeah. So we were talking about this at the beginning. You guys have been here several times. I love it. I think it's so important that those out there in ADOM Nation get to learn about these great companies. And that's why, we have this featured company livecast. Like we said at the beginning, there are technologies out there that practices they hear about. You guys have been on now a couple of times. What would you say to a practice, to an office manager that's maybe on the fence, right? And you experience this all the time because, once a customer decides to start utilizing, the product, then you guys are able to have those conversations of what it was like where they were on the other side. So what would you say to a practice right now that is like, we're fine with where we are, or maybe there's too many steps with it? It's just in an effort to really kind of give them maybe the last bits of information that would be helpful for them to start taking advantage of the great features.
Sure. So one biggest thing is that we're offering a free trial through the end of the year for all ADOM members and listeners. To me, that's the no-brainer is we will help you get started, in just a couple days. You can utilize the software for free until the end of the year. You're going to see it in action and know that not only are you upgrading the billing experience for your team members, but for your patients as well.
Mm-hmm. So what, Kimberly, as you've kind of gone through this pandemic, the last, I keep saying 7 or 8 months, but it feels like it's been much longer than that. What, again, you guys get to talk to customers. What have been some of the takeaways? Not so much maybe 30 days after, but I'm talking like 90, 120 days after a practice implements and integrates Abella. What are the conversations that you're having with these practices once they really kind of build it into what they do on a daily, weekly basis?
Yeah, I think the longer that you use Abella, it just works even better because you've gotten over that hurdle of, new implementation and patients are now, familiar with the new expectation on how they pay their bill. And COVID has been kind of a crazy time for us because it has allowed offices to generate money to the practice where no one, staff was furloughed. Maybe they had no other way to work their AR. Abella was, the platform to get that communication to their patients so they could generate some revenue that for offices that were closed. We had one practice in particular collect over $33,000 in the first 30 days with Abella. So will it work on the front end? Absolutely. We'll help you clean out old balances on that backlog. And then moving forward, I think it just becomes that expectation for your patients as that convenient way to pay. They can click a couple buttons. They know that why they're receiving those messages. And it's, everything's customized for the practice anyway. So it's very familiar to them as to why they're getting this communication. But the process is so simple for them that there's no reason that they shouldn't take action very quickly. And it's, once you're in, especially for a 6-month period, you stick with Abella because, like I said, your collections are coming in much, much faster.
Yeah, certainly putting together a free trial, which is awesome, is a fence jumper, right? I'm on the fence, and you guys have obviously made that available to all the ADOM members, which is awesome. I also know that there are some resource links or just some resource references that one of your team members has put in the comments thread. So maybe if you could let everybody know kind of what's there, and I think more importantly, where they get in touch, can get in touch with you guys, get this demo, get this free trial started.
Perfect. So yeah, that link in the chat, you can click on that. You'll just fill out some, basic information so that we can reach out to you. You'll receive a recorded demo, which is great. You can watch it on your own time. And then you can circle back with me or anyone on our team to answer any questions. We can schedule a phone call. And from there, if you want to get started, we can certainly help you do that. And like I said, it's a no obligation trial. So, we just need a couple things from you guys to get you guys going.
Perfect. Well, Kimberly, thanks so much. This is awesome. It's great to have you guys back. Certainly, bringing out a product. I love the example of $33,000, dollars in AR. There's not too many businesses, as you know, that when they shut down, there still is that opportunity to kind of recoup some of that. So awesome stuff that you guys are doing, and really appreciate you, being a part of putting together these things for ADOM. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, you got it, Kimberly. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.